What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Pnoid News, man. Listen, man, there's some crazy shit going on right now. All right, so let's start this where this starts. Let's talk about Texas. All right, because I'll tell you what, Civil War is. It's about there. All right, so the government, or let's Eagle Pass, Texas. Right. They put up razor wire fence at Eagle Pass and told, told Texas or told the immigrants, listen, you need to go to a legal border crossing in order to come here. Illegal immigrants said, no, we don't want to do that. We're going to do whatever the fuck we want. Federal government said, yeah, they can just do whatever they want. And, well, Texas said, no, we're going to put up razor wire fence. So when they put up razor wire fence, it ended up having a bunch of migrants drown in the Rio Grande River, which I'll be honest, I don't care. Right. The Supreme Court stood here and stepped in and said that the Texas cannot block the feds from cutting down their razor wire fence. So, listen, so we're gonna talk about this. Here's where we are. Yesterday, Governor Greg Abbott came out and said the federal government has broken the compact between the United States and the states. Executive branch of the United States has a constitutional duty to enforce the federal laws protecting states, including immigration laws on the books right now. President Biden has refused to enforce those laws and has even violated them. The result is that he smashed records for illegal immigration. Despite having been put on notice in this series of letters, one of which I delivered to him by hand, President Biden has ignored Texas' demand that he perform constitutional duties. President Biden has violated his oath to faithfully execute immigration laws enacted by Congress. Instead of prosecuting immigrants for the federal crime of illegal entry, President Biden has sent his lawyers in the federal court to sue Texas for taking action to secure the border. President Biden has instructed his agencies to ignore federal statutes that mandate the detention of illegal immigrants. The effect is to illegally allow their en masse parole into the United States. By wasting taxpayer dollars to tear open Texas's border security infrastructure, President Biden has enticed illegal immigrants away from the 28 legal entry points along the state's southern border bridges where nobody drowns and into the dangerous waters of the Rio Grande. Under President Biden's lawless border policies, we have more than 6 million illegal immigrants have crossed our southern border in just 3 years. That is more than the population of 33 different states in this country. This illegal refusal to protect the states has inflicted unprecedented harm on the people all across the United States. James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and all other visionaries who wrote the U.S. Constitution were told that the states should not be left to the mercy of the lawless president who does nothing to stop external threats like cartels smuggling millions of illegal immigrants across the border. That is why the framers included both Article 4, which promises that the federal government shall protect each state against invasion, and Article 1, which acknowledges the state's sovereign interest in protecting their borders, Arizona versus United States, Scalia, J. dissenting. The failure of the Biden administration to fulfill the duties imposed by Article 4 has triggered Article 1, Clause 10, or Clause 3, which reserves to this state the right of self-defense. For these reasons, I have already declared an invasion under Article 1, Clause 3, to invoke Texas's constitutional authority to defend and protect itself. That authority is the supreme law of the land and suspends any federal statutes to the contrary. The Texas National Guard, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and other Texas personnel are acting on the authority, as well as state law to secure the Texas border. Well, let's have this discussion. You know what I'm saying? Because I think it's kind of important. All these states have decided. All the states in red and with the pink lines had decided to back Texas and have deployed. The ones with the pink lines had deployed National Guard to go help Texas. The blue states are dissenting. And Nevada and Utah have decided that they're considering, an anti-federalist position. I wish Pennsylvania would, but we have, Democrats in fucking power. So why is all this happening? Well, let's discuss this because this is kind of important, right? This is a CPI chart over time, right? From 1970 to 2021 or 2024 or whatever it is, right? Now, the way that they usually stop this from happening is by raising interest rates and bringing in massive amounts of immigration. You notice this here happened, right? And when this here happened, right, this is the interest rates over time. what ended up happening is that our real wages, right, ended up getting fucking, stagnant for about 40 years, right? Up until COVID happened and we didn't have any immigration into the country and boomers started retiring en masse. And when that happened, all of us got a raise. It was great. But the problem is it ended up setting off massive amounts. This is productivity versus wage increases. Ended up setting off massive amounts of fucking inflation throughout the system, which ended up causing white women to whine about their frappes costing too much money. And in doing so, they're blaming the government. And the government says, oh no, we can't get elected because like economics, right? And they go, they're going to blame us for the inflation, right? Like I know you probably have all seen like a little Biden sticker that says, I did that next to the gas pumps, right? Tends to be how it works. None of this is Biden's fault, right? The real problem is, at the end of the day, that, we have stood here and had trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. Oh, wait, this is actually dead. Hang on a minute. This is the one I wanted. Yeah. We have trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars coming out of the market due to the fact that the boomers putting it in there. All this in the blue in the middle, right? The bluish, greenish color. I'm not really good with colors, I'll be honest with you. Right. This is the ownership of corporate stocks by retirements, defined contribution plans, defined benefit plans, IRAs, things of that nature. These are 401ks and pensions. All of this is what is owned, right, by, like basic things. This is what BlackRock is made up of in the end of the day. Now you ask, if they brought in massive amounts of immigrants and didn't give us any, raise, like how did we ended up surviving? Oh, well, that's really fucking easy. Debt. Like, this is debt over time to the American citizen. Basic ass thing, right? You know what I'm saying? The Brown Parts mortgage, trying to see here. Yeah, the Brown Parts mortgage, the HE is revolving debt, which is basically like, nonsense, whatever, personal loans. Auto loans is the I don't know, I guess that would be gray, right? Something like that, grayish, bluish. The one above that is credit card and student loans in the light blue, and then other is kind of whatever, payday loans, whatever the case is, right? And this is how we have been able to survive, right? U.S. consumer credit card debt tops $1 trillion. This recently happened last year. Now, with all this being said, what is going to end up happening with the Civil War situation? Right, where Texas is deciding that it wants to take on the federal government and be part, and end up trying to tell the government what it's going to do. I'll be honest with you. Texas has been pushing for the idea to leave the past couple of years. I don't think it's a bad idea for them, right? But if they do leave, there's going to be other states that go with them because I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of the balance of power. Like we still have the same mentality of like slave states versus non-slave states, just red versus blue, Democrat versus Republican. And they're still pretty 50-50 at this point. But if Texas leaves, that changes in a very, very big fucking way. Right? And in the end of the day, what will end up happening is all the rest of the states that are going to end up suffering underneath of the boot of the fucking Democrats will have to leave too, which will end up just triggering a civil war. This is where the problem lies. And, this is why the federal government cannot back down on this issue. But on the same point, they have to, they're probably what's going to end up happening is they're just going to negotiate some shit where they're going to be like, hey, Mr. Abbott, we'll give you like $5 billion to shut the fuck up, right? And let us do whatever the fuck we want. And then they'll end up creating some fucking bullshit nonsense where they say some broad, he grabbed some broad's ass or raped somebody or whatever it is, or he's a pedophile or whatever nonsense that they're going to fucking say, because this is what the goddamn government does, right? They'll use the media to push his motherfucking ass out of the goddamn box and, force the fucking issue down the goddamn road. Because they have to fucking stand here and try to arrest inflation, even though, they don't, because of the fact that they don't want to have to tell fucking boomers that they can't retire, because if the cost of labor goes up, then the companies don't have as much money in their stock price, which means boomers fucking pension funds and fucking retirements aren't worth as much, which means the entire system fucking collapses. That's where we are right now. So this is what's going on. This is all economics tied in with border security. It's just. And listen, eventually you got to pay the piper. I'm Tom Pease with Pnoid News. I hope you all enjoyed this. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm up out of here.